I get, the Kendall hold. I used Kendall hold as an example against Diaz, and I could even see how that was a two-way fight to the left, hand to the body and left hand to the head to finish that one off. But I could see it playing out like that. What are your thoughts about these three fights? Obviously, Bellamonte's claim in this fight is he beat Figueroa in the amateurs a bunch of times. I get what people are saying as far as some of it's underwhelming, as far as a main event maybe. People want like a more of a 50-50 type fight. What are your thoughts, though, on this Thurman-Diaz fight in a Matthysse-Molina? I mean, action, yes. Heavy favorites. Some people think these are just two heavy favorites and they shouldn't be on Showtime. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thing is, they're leading. Now, long as in the end we're going to see Keith Thurman versus Lucas Matthysse, because that's what we're supposed to be. They're supposed to be gearing up to. Now, if we get that promise, then I'm all in. I mean, I really don't have a problem with this matchup at all, because these are the fighters that's going to bring. It's a great matchup. I feel like when whoever did the scheduling for Golden Boy or the matchmaking, I think they really did a good job this time. This is going to be a compelling fight. Style for style, this is what you want. I mean, I don't think Molina's going to last more than 3, maybe 4 rounds against Matthysse, if this is the same Matthysse. But then we never know how much psychological damage was done in the loss with Danny Garcia. We don't know what type of, Matthysse we're going to see. He's been gone for a while. He had an injury with the eye. You never know when someone comes off a loss when they've been at the top. Everybody looked at him like he was a machine, and now that aura of invincibility could be gone and faded away. So now, John Molina will probably be like, oh, well, you've been exposed, so I'm just going to jump right on you. We've seen that with a lot of power punchers in the history of the sport. Once they suffered that loss or that aura of invincibility was gone, it's like the rest of the boxing world just like followed suit. Like the fear was gone. So, you never know. I'm very interested to see, what's going to come out of it, because I want to see how Matthysse responds. His first time dealing with this type of adversity in a while, because all his losses have been robberies, basically. This was the first legitimate loss, that he had.
Yeah.
And as far as Diaz versus Thurman, this is a great matchup, because for Keith Thurman, he's fighting the first, really skilled boxer. A lot of people don't realize. I understand Diaz is not a real welterweight. Well, people are like, well, he's not a real welterweight, but skill can transfer through different weight classes. Of course, you have to deal with a power factor, but Thurman, he'll be dealing with a boxer. For the first time, he's going to be dealing with some slickness, somebody who slides under punches. So for as long as it lasts, I think Thurman's power will dictate in the end and probably stop Diaz as the fight gets late. But he's going to have to adjust to something he's not used to seeing, really. He's going to see a guy who's going to use the ring a little bit. He'll fight with him, too. He's slick, and he's got some shots that can catch you. But if you're Keith Thurman, this is the type of fight you got to have. This is another different style for you. Now you got a slick fighter who's going to fight entirely different than the last 2 opponents you fought. So this is what you need to accomplish and need to go against. A lot of boxing fans don't understand. They never saw Floyd Mayweather's career. Because it's funny that Floyd's been fighting since 96. Most of these guys were maybe 3 years old.
Yep.
That's now on YouTube and stuff. And they didn't realize Floyd Mayweather fought a lot of different style opponents, even though they didn't know who the fighters were. But he fought a lot of different styles early in his career. So he was able to adjust and find an adjustment to these fighters. So when he fought the world championship level and he was fighting these guys, he had already fought similar guys that had these styles already. And this is what you need. If you're Keith Thurman, you're going to be going for world titles and things of this nature. This is how you develop fighters. You know, unfortunately, in today's game, there's no time to develop fighters. They got to go out on a platform and perform right away, because the way the exposure is now with social media. You know, you have one fight, you get one knockdown, they're going to show it all around television or social media. Then you're the next big thing. But some fighters need time to develop. You know, they need to be seen with different styles, and I think they're doing the right steps with Keith Thurman. Let him develop a little bit, because he's actually improved a lot since I've seen him like 4 or 5 fights ago.
Yep.
I mean, he's really improved tremendously, and I think you're seeing the growth of a fighter, and I think that instead of throwing him right into a firefight and probably ruining something that could be really great, this is the steps he needs to take. This is definitely the type of fight he needs right now, because I don't think he's fought anyone in his resume with the type of boxing IQ that Diaz has.
Yeah, I agree, and not just that, but, I mean, everybody wants to jump out of the gym for good reason about Porter now, because I do think he turned the corner on some of the things he would do in his game plan, in his mind, like his focus in a fight. But, I mean, we're ready to jump on this dude, but then he just, not too long ago, he fought to a draw, and then won the second, you know, made some improvements and fixed some things from the first fight. But this is all within a year and a half. He made Khan 2 different times look shaky in that fight, still made a good fight out of it. So, to me, I just think, like, I don't know, I mean, not just that, Karceno, but Robert Guerrero. I mean, do we want to go down the list of some people that said no to this fight with Thurman, too? So they got to keep him busy, like Schaefer said a couple of weeks ago. We got to keep him busy, too, though. You know what I mean? And now they're saying it's also a measuring stick because of Porter fighting him and Amir fighting him in the last couple of years. I don't have a problem with this fight. The guy has 22 fights. He's 22-0 with 20 KOs. And not just that, to add on to this, right? Karceno, he's shown vulnerability in the first 5 rounds in these last couple of fights. So why wouldn't Julio Diaz be a good test for him in a measuring stick and all that? Especially after they tried to get Guerrero. They tried to get a couple names that people know, but the money and the risk, it just wasn't there. They're putting him in a main event. His profile will raise more, and hopefully they think they can match him, you know, with some other fighters, like you mentioned as well, Matthysse. I don't mind the fight at all. I think people are kind of overdoing it with this, to be honest. I don't see that much wrong with this card. Is there that marquee matchup? No. But, like you said, matchmaking-wise, this is going to be a brawl, and I kind of think that Molina, I don't know if you're on by then or not, but I feel like that Matthysse fight, it's different because, you know, Soto can do some stuff on the outside as well, not just come forward, but Soto had plenty of success in the first 2-3 rounds with Matthysse. He was winning the fight. Then it became 2-way, you know, where they're both getting it in, and then Matthysse took over. Why? I mean, I could see that with Molina as well. I just think, like you said, matchmaking. This is what this card comes down to. When they see on Twitter, you know, when they say, "Oh, dude, that last round was this, that, and the other," people are going to start tuning in and talking about this card. They're just, I don't know. I guess because there's not that one marquee fight in this triple header that they're used to, or a 50-50 fight, which I get, but we're just, even though boxing's improved, and you know, and I know this well, you're not going to get a 50-50 fight every time out. It's just not going to happen.
Nope.
It's just
You're not. And, I mean, you never know what fight's going to turn into a 50-50 fight.
That's right.
You know, so, I mean, I'm really happy with this fight here. Matthysse, I mean, a lot of people think John John's going to get blown out, but, you know, the guy can take a punch sometimes and keep coming back. And then sometimes when he's in a fight where it's like it's going to be 50-50, he's gone in 30 seconds. Like, well, that's the fight. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You know, this guy could have, you know, revitalized his career. He's signed with Al Heyman now, so that might be a new motivational thing for him. So we never know.
Yeah, I mean, he ain't gonna have to go find and he ain't gonna get outboxed. That's for sure.